I'll teach you that, show you that if you're new here. We will do a quick introduction. Anybody who's new to our YouTube accounts, new to my X accounts, new to our business X accounts, or new to our community. So let's start with the introduction first. A quick. So we trade a repeatable system called Ripster EMA Cloud System, and all the other teachings, my be it a swing trade, day trade, investing, psychological teachings, the mental, the risk reward, all the teachings that I've been teaching for free over 8-9 years on X, then on ripstereducation.com, and then of course on YouTube as well. That my system, thousands of traders across the world use Ripster Cloud System to trade, and they're finding success. You can go on ripstereducation.com, see the lives I have impacted with my free education. We also use all this system in our private community, which is one of the largest online educational trading community. Not an alert or signal service, but a serious traders professional community where I'm live on the voice, where I'm on a screen share, where we prepare, we plan. Thousands of traders are on our trade floor. We have so many free tools there: option scanners, option flow scanners, stock scanners, breaking news alerts, order flows, MOC. The tools, $500-$600 worth free for the traders in the community that we use to trade consistently, keeping our losers small, our winners big. So what we do every morning, today I share this plan free as well on my X account. So a lot of the traders on our X were also following that. So we had this plan. We make this plan in the pre-market. I make this plan live. Me and my team, we gather all the news, all the earning plays, all the index stocks, all the upgrades, downgrades, anything that I think can move, I make it red. And today actually most of the red plays were the ones which really worked out. We'll go through all of them that really worked out pretty well for us. Most of the red plays I made red. You will see that. So it doesn't have to work all the time, but based upon my experience or knowledge, I make them red. I give a support level, resistance level. I give initial plan. So my traders, they can take this plan and they can trade it themselves. Of course, they need to know all the teachings, all the concepts that I teach you every day. These concepts are also in so many hundreds of hours of webinars that I have in community, or 1,000+ YouTube videos that I have on YouTube. So that's how we plan. We will come back to this when we are recapping our trades. We also share the daily levels for SPY, QQQQ, Max 7, ETFs. You could trade those. We trade crypto stocks. We share those levels and the plan for them in the pre-market. We trade the future levels. My guidance, live guidance, traders can trade futures. We'll talk about it today as well. Then we also have something called day 2, day 3 setups. Day 2, day 3 setups are amazing setups today. We are going to cover a few of those day 3 setups. We'll talk about SHTW and PLTR. I'll tell you why the day 2, day 3 setup is so important strategy to trade. So we trade low floors, we trade IPOs, we trade a lot of things. Most of the good trades are early in the morning, and the rest of the day you can relax, or we have midday setups, you can do all that. But anyways, you're here to learn, you are here to see no BS, no hindsight, real trades. You can go to our trade recap gallery, many times. You can also see my entries as well. But I want to teach you with my live guidance, showing you my timestamp guidance, so you guys can also, I cannot show you what I talk on the voice because I'm on the voice all day, but I will show you what I, alert or guide my traders as well. So let's start with this recap earnings special. So what I every day teach my students, what I teach all my traders every day is, if you want to learn the system, if you want to master this system, you need to first focus on winning a trade with a small size, so that you master the system, like our VIX strategy, life-changing strategy, which if you go to ripstereducation.com, you will see that, right? That I'm not doing a BS. Actually, the strategy, nobody used to use VIX like this, like how I used it. I spearheaded this strategy back in 2020-21, and then showed the traders. A lot of traders argued that VIX doesn't really have in technicals, but I showed the traders how could you use VIX every day to make profitable trades for the in index trades in the market. So we were going to do the same thing today. Pay attention. We'll also look at SPX today. So SPY and QQQ. So what was the plan? So when I'm talking about SPY QQQs, I'm talking about S&P, I'm talking about NASDAQ, I'm talking about IWM as well. I'm also talking about NASDAQ futures, I'm also talking about ES futures, and I'm also talking about SPX. So you can use this guidance to trade those. Definitely we provide the levels of SPY QQQ as well. But today's simple plan was simple. VIX 20, 19, 70 are two key levels. Only long if SPY hold 1 hour MTF and we break those levels. So when I say 20, 19, 70, if we break those levels and the market curls, we will long it. It's that simple. So what happened, right? So let's first focus on VIX at the morning. So what was VIX doing right in the morning? So you see, we open right here. This is the VIX candle. Right here we opened it, was trying to pull under 20, go back over 20, right? So VIX was not clear what it wants to do. It kind of dipped and then tried to get back over 20 again. But the third time, it rejected 20 big time, right? So not only we just look at VIX, we also look at Mag 7s. I look at what Apple is doing, Microsoft is doing. You need to know what watch my other videos, you need to know what all the other index stocks are doing, so that you can understand where market is going. We are trying to see, have a confidence in our setups. And of course, we have VIX strategy, but it's not just one. We have VIX, we have clouds. You have to do multi-point inspection of the market to make money in the market. So we'll show you that. So anyways, so when the market opened, I waited. Let's just go to our, I'm gonna just show you SPX here, and then maybe I show you QQQ right here, and then we talk about SPY right here. We'll look at that. All right, so that's SPY up there with a bunch of MTF clouds. We'll see here, and then we are also looking at QQQ right here. So pay special attention to these first two candles. This candle right here, this candle right here, green candle, and then this red rejection candle. We are not clear what we're going to do here, because let me just, I can just keep one of the MTF clouds here. So we are not clear what we want to do here, but as soon as I see this VIX kind of rejecting right here, right here, this big red candle, I say long starter. Starter means you can use a small size. If usually you buy 10 contracts, you can buy 6, or you can add into your position. So I tell the traders to long SPY QQQ right here. Why is that? VIX is breaking 20. We are bouncing over Ripster 1 hour MTF clouds. We are pushing over Ripster 50 clouds, MTF clouds that I invented how to use the time frame multiple EMA clouds from the daily chart on your intraday, so you can trade this. So we're pushing over here, and MTF clouds VIX. So right here, no hindsight, I told the traders to long it, and I gave the high of the day target, which was this first candle, and then pre-market high was the next target. So I told the traders, next leg up, VIX breaking 19. So when VIX break 19, what is my next target on VIX? This MTF cloud right here. So that means SPY is going to run, QQQ is going to run. We hit here. I told the traders hold. We finally exited when we got this fake breakdown here, right? So we got a fake QQQ. We'll talk about our midday short later, but so that was a big move, right? From 684.50 all the way to 688. You get right here, your stops are right here. So let's see how the SPX did. So we want to talk about SPX. So always use SPY. So I can use SPX, or I can even use ES futures to trade it. It doesn't really matter. ES future was also 30 for 50 clouds, and also 1 hour MTF clouds. So but I like to use SPY. The ETF, SPY is the ETF, ES is the future contracts, SPX is the actual index, right? But SPX options are very volatile, they are very lucrative, very risky, they can blow your account, they can also give you home run. The thing with the SPX is, when you're trading SPX options, lottos, you should assume 100% risk, because they can go to zero. So if you're willing to lose 200 to buy a SPX 200 lotto, if you're willing to lose 500, you buy a DOT lotto. You just don't put a huge part of your portfolio, because you're looking to make 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in your SPX, right? So let's look at the SPX here. So let's say, we always, I'm working on a new indicator. We always go by like, what's the room, how much we can go, right? So you always draw your levels, and you can always use your ATR levels as well, how much ATR we're going to go there. So let's see if this, when we started to move here from 60.80.56, when I gave this long here on a SPY. So let's look at this, calls for 6,900. They're lottos, they're pretty far away, or we can also look at 68.90. So if we look at, before I say this, if nobody trades, no system is better to trade SPY, QQQ, SPX than what we do at Tenet. It's not I'm saying that you usually don't hear me say that, because it's a fact. Because if you go watch hundreds of my recaps, thousands of my tweets, on X, you will see that how good the system is. It's not me, it's the system that I have created. Right, so that's what I'm trying to teach you. So let's see here. So you see that as we were pushing on SPX, let me see if I can move it here. So as we see, we're pushing on SPX right from 68.50, 668, 660. So this is our 6,900 lotto, right? So what is it? Right here, 950. You see it's trading at $5. So if I take that at $5, you can use the option charts. If you want to risk the low of the day, so you will lose if you buy here at 5. You want to cut it at 370. Assumed risk is 100%, because anything can happen in split second. It can go from $5 to $2 in a split second. You need to understand the risk. But let's say I have $100,000 account. I have $50,000 account. I'm 5 with risking the $200 today. I'm buying one contract. I have a big account, I buy 3 contracts, right? So let's say we bought 3 contracts. I'm fine risking 500. So as soon as I said that, my traders, they got long SPX here, but SPX, because it's an SPX, it's a index, it moves pretty volatile. So that $5 that you took here, just when I told you, so that went all the way $11, $12. And I told the traders to hold. When we hit this right here, MTF, VIX hit support, that's when actually we kind of started to think about taking the profits, right? So because we hit 16 bucks, $5, 3 times your money. So your $500 already becoming $1,500. So you need to sell 2 or you sell 3, or when the system breaks down, you get all of it. So we sold everything here at 1150. So if you see that 1150, we started to break down. Our last contract, you sold 2 contracts at the highs. Last contract you sell at 10. You're still selling 1 contract for double the gain and 1 contract 2 times your risk. So you're still getting more profitable. Now you could trade further lotos as well, but we don't know how far it's going to go, right? So we had a big run. Usually we target 100% ATR. Today SPX did not push to the 100% ATR. It was probably, what was ATR there? 70% ATR. So you could definitely trade 69.20s because it's $1.20. Same thing, right? When I told to go long, it's $1.20. So it's $1.20. And when we take that $1.20, I'm willing to lose all of that, because the moment I hit that, when SPY hit the pre-market highs right here by 10:10, I'm already hitting that $1.20 into $4. I'm 3 times making money, but I could lose that too. But I'm ready to risk that, right? So if I buy 10 contracts for 1,400, I know I will sell under the low of the day, but assume risk is all 1,400. But again, I'm making the 1,400 into 3 grand, 4 grand. So that's how you have to trade this, when you trade SPX. The other ways to trade SPX is you can sell the put options, credit spreads. You could buy debit spreads. We will cover in a separate webinar, but that's how you can make a living, right? But on a choppy day, we could lose that too. On a choppy day, I buy 140 dipped, I will lose $500. I will lose it because the market pumps, market drops, the options go to zero, so far out of the money. Understand the theta. If you don't know the basics of the options, do not start trading after what I'm telling you today. First, learn the basics. If you know the basics, then you can learn what I'm teaching you and apply those knowledge of the VIX strategy, the MTF cloud strategy, the MTF 3450 strategy, pre-market concept, all the concepts that I'm teaching, you can apply that, and then you can make money in the markets. So that's how you have to do it, right? Just wanted to talk about it, and then what happened later in the day. So let's look at what happened later in the day. So later in the day, we got a double bottom here on the VIX. Double bottom. You see that? We break the Ripster 512 cloud. We break the Ripster 512 clouds. Now you can do the same thing. Now you could do the same thing. We have the VIX strategy. We have the 512 clouds break. We have a news on the news we have on that what we call it the FOMC minutes. So we know we have a catalyst there, right? So you can do the SPX puts there. But again, remember, you're buying here where your stops are. So let's see that the traders bought 68.80 puts, right? Or they might be too much. Or let's say traders bought 68.60 puts when we were dumping there. So let's take a look there. So let's look at like 68.75 puts, right? Once we are trying to break here, and again, we are not doing this hindsight. We are trading it actively. The traders are actively shorting that, SPX, longing it. You see Option Rocket took from $1 to $10, turned $100 into $1,000, 200% by Trojan. So we are actually doing it. So if you're new to this and you think I'm one of those gurus who does hindsight, we do not do the hindsight. And I also tweeted about this as well. If you go to my feed, and I will, you see the tweet about that VIX Watch 20, right? What did I say? You got to watch 18. So that's what you got to watch it, right? 18. So 20 to 19 and double bottom here. So my traders and my followers, they already know those teachings, so they're already executing that. So once we see that, breaking down, so let's say we are in a 68.70 puts right here. So right at the time when we were breaking down at 1320s, and you see that they are stagnant right now because we're not really flushing too much there, right? But they're starting to get up. What is it? $1 went to $5, held around $2.50 because they're out of money. Then suddenly big flush as VIX breaks out of 20 right here 19, big boom, they go to $13, right? So I'm willing to risk $100, and I just showed you I'm making $1,000, right? It's up to you. But the problem happens when you buy, you never put, you do not risk, if you have a $10,000 account, yes, I will buy $100 one lotto, right? That's it, because then I'm also holding it till 5-600. I just need to know, can this go all the way to the MTF magnet when the 512 breaks? Can we go fade all the way? So that's something we have to watch. Can it fade all the way when we break this 512 magnet? Can we fade all the way down there? So that's what we have to watch here, so that we can understand that how far the move can happen. So try to trade on the option charts. It's easier for you. You can trade on Webull, you can trade on Interactive Brokers, TradingView, Thinkorswim. So I just wanted to do a specific video on SPX today, that how you manage risk. Look for the strikes which have the most volume. You want to trade them. We will do a separate webinar for these, how to sell the options and credit spreads as well. And it's not just that, right? So I showed you how the traders were green today. It's not, you could literally short anything when market is happy. You can short SPY, you can short QQQs, 512. You can look at these traders, Caribor 139 puts took all the way, SMCI, SPY puts, VIX Strategies ATM machine. It's just insane, right? So the reason, I flaunt my education, because it's free. Yes, if you want to join the community, feel free to join, the private community, but you don't really, you can learn this, master this, and do it on your own. That's why the traders in the community, we were 80% green, right? So like I said, never hindsight, always real time. Always I try to tweet, I show you can change consistent money, trade futures, trade SPY, ETFs, leverage ETFs, options, whatever you want to trade. Just manage your risk, because if you manage your risk, that's how you will win. Because many times you want to make thousands of dollars and you risk thousands of dollars and you lose everything. But when you try to add small and win big, then you will see consistent growth. I see the traders with their small accounts, especially the small account traders, they will have $10,000 account or $3,000 account. They will go in a lot of 1,000. That's not how you do it. Watch my small account webinar. So the two webinars you got to watch, those are in the community, the new members. You got to watch the SPY QQQ for living webinar. It's a 2-hour webinar. I did it free. You got to watch it, and you will learn about all that SPY QQQ right here. Trade SPY QQQ for living webinar. You're gonna watch. So you watch this webinar because there's many things when you're trading index stocks. There's many things related, right? You got to watch. You should watch the small account webinar as well, help you grow how to grow the small account properly, because it's all about risk, right? End of the day, it's all about risk. The things, if you cannot handle too much risk, too much volatility, you trade leverage ETFs, you trade SPY QQQ options, you trade credit spreads. Find your risk. If you trade SPX, understand that your greed needs to be in control. You cannot buy huge sizes, because if you do not understand theta, IV, gamma, you will get crushed. So first learn that, then start with small sizes, risking $50, $100. Options sometimes will be expensive. Thinking about, and then learning all I teach. Go to my YouTube recaps if you're not in community. Learn the MTF system, the VIX, the market analysis. Understand, and I try to teach every day. And how the traders, you got to trade it. And these teachings can actually change your life. If you go to ripstereducation.com, you could see that's how the free teachings have changed the life. If you just want to look at the VIX Trades, you see how the simple strategy has been changing life since 2020-21. Because it's at the end of the day, it's about, do you want to learn and have lifetime success, or you just want to make a crazy money buying a crazy lotto and make overnight money because you see people on X accounts, account challenges, this, blah, blah, that. No, it's all risk first, preserve what you got, risk less, win big. And that's the secret to make money with SPX, right? So let's close it and see what happened at the end of the day in SPX. So just when we saw that, what happened end of the day, just the same strategy, you see VIX back to 20. So I told the traders that VIX is back to 20 in my community. So we said we are 20. All of us are watching that 20 end of the day. And that's called a D minus setup. It's under the clouds. but it's called a D minus setup. You could long if you want to, So there was an option that we were trading here. Let's see here. So this one, 68.75. Let's look at 68.75. See what happened to 68.75 here. So let's take a look. So you see this is a 68.75, which was a 50 cents when VIX was rejecting 20, and this was a D minus. So D minus is against the clouds. We are against the clouds. We are not, our clouds are not bullish yet, but we see this is bouncing. This is a D minus set. So today the two trades were the B plus long here, midday 512, morning calls, two repeatable setups. This was a D minus. This was a D minus. If you're an advanced trader, if you know my teachings, you could take a D minus. And I also sent the alert when we had the curl to close the day. Let me show you here. I told the traders curls, SPX curls. I gave the SPX curl alert. I gave the QQQ curl alert. So this SPX 68.75, you have nothing much to lose. It's 50 cents, $1.50. So you see that, I was trading the 68.75 for $1.20. I'm fine with it. I'm, losing that $1.20. And look what happened to that 68.75. Once it curled and sent the alerts on the curls, we went all the way to 14 bucks, right? If you risk 1,000, you can easily make $4,000. And 1,000 you can only risk. Let's say you have hundreds of $1,000 account, you're fine. Usually I don't recommend risking that much, because if you do not manage your risk, SPX will destroy you. If you have 100,000 account and somebody says buy $20,000 worth of SPX, you do not do that. If I have $100,000 account, I want willing to lose $300. Yes, I will buy the D minus and hold it when the clouds curl. And you see that $300, I can turn into $3,000, right? So that's the kind of trade I want to do, and I want to hold it. And look at what happened, right? Boom, back to 550s. 68.75 still closed in the money, $5 in the money, so it didn't go to zero. But rest of them will go to zero. Look at the ports if you want to see the ports which closed in money. So let's take a look at 68.85 port. If you want to see that, let's take a look at 68.85 port, or we can take a look at let's take a look at this put here. What is this put? So this is 68.90. It was $2, right? And then it's swiped. I usually don't recommend trading the last 2 minutes. It's very dangerous. Many advanced traders do it, but that went from $2 to $10 because you see that it was out of the money. So when its option is out of money, it has no value at the close. SPX has no value. But as soon as its flush is there, it closes under 68.85. 68.90, it closes 60. It has a $9 intrinsic value, $10 value, and that goes from $2 to $10. Of course, if my account is $500,000, I can just throw $200 there and just make lunch money at 10 bucks. So hopefully you understand that, guys. Hopefully SPX special was really helpful for you guys. You learn the concepts I teach. That's how we do it. Hopefully you can also master this. Remember the risk reward behind SPX is very important, how you do it. So always remember that before you trade SPX. Learn everything. Go to ripstereducation.com. Learn how you trade the options. Learn how you trade the theta gamma. Understand everything. We will do some more webinars to teach you those, but hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully the followers who followed me again today on the guidance on SPX and SPY QQQ, you had a nice day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. All right, so next one we're going to look at is IWM today. So what was happening with IWM? Let me show. So I was on top of IWM today. So I was on top of IWM right at the open. I told the traders long it right now. It's bullish. It's the strongest name in the market, best long in the market. You could see. So basically what I'm showing you is my voice guidance on IWM. And we just don't do it like this. We had our pre-market planning. You see the levels on IWM 263.45 to 64.35. Why was it bullish? It was bouncing from the lower MTF, the upper MTF. Call here right away, you take it long, break out of the pre-market highs, hold it long, boom, all the way from 263 all the way to 267. So IWM was a pretty good long there for us here in the community. So next one, we're going to look at PLTR. So what was our plan on PLTR? So let's take a look at PLTR. So PLTR was on our pre-market game plan. Let's take a look at PLTR here. So PLTR was, it had a news upgrade, 134, 135, 60 support and levels. Everything was given to the traders in the pre-market game plan. It was also a day to setup because I've been in this correction. I have been talking about that PLTR is one of the best setups for the swing. You see the bullish bias to long. gap and go over the pre-market breakout. So we had news. It was also a day to set up. So as soon as I see the PLTR pushing, I tell the traders to long it versus 136. If you missed it, watch the pullbacks for the entry, because the expectations are my traders are already long from the game plan. Those who won't focus on PLTR, they're already long. And when I come in, I tell them to long. You go long it if you're late, but you have to watch your entry, because because further you go away from the clouds, more is your risk. Anyways, the risk was 136. Even if you're adding at 137, and when I came in, you're risking $1. The target is 140. We hit 140. We hit 141. I gave target 140. I called about the flag, and then I moved the stops to 138. Then we moved the stops to 138.80. As soon as we break down here, we exit. You can see that we exit. And the traders took the short here actually in the 512 short, just like we covered, and they also made money on the long side, and they got money on the short side. Pretty bad daily chart, to tell you the truth. But anyways, that's why Ripster Cloud is amazing. You can long and short all day with Ripster Clouds. You could see that it had a news. We had a pre-market plan, 34.50 bounce all the way to 141, winning trade. Let's go to the next one. So let's look at PANW. So let's take a look at PANW. So PANW was initially we were trying to short it, but very important thing to look at PANW. So let's go to the pre-market planning here. So let's take a look here. So pre-market planning on PNW was beat estimates by 0.09, trade versus 150, bearish bias to short it under the pre-market lows, cautious if it holds the pre-market lows. Look carefully. So what did we do? We held the pre-market lows. We tried to short it. We started to short at 150, right here, 149. We're risking 40, 60 cents. But you see it's not breaking the pre-market low, just like I discussed in the pre-market planning. And when it's not breaking the pre-market lows, then this is curling. So you see we were shorting it. I told that when I see that it's holding, I told the trader close the shorts, look for curls, close the shorts, look for curls. And I told them you can start a small size versus 149, that's your stops. Then you can move your stops up and you can add more. So we added here 150s, we added more 151s, we moved the stops to 150. It ran for us all the way to 155. No hindsight, I gave the targets of 153, I gave the targets of 154. We hit both targets, we actually hit 155. So you risked $1 and you made $5. You risked 1,000, you made $5,000. So that's the kind of trade that was. So this was a gap down reversal, just like a gap and crap. I teach you gap and crap. This was a gap down reversal using Ripster Clouds, using the pre-market values, Ripster 512 calls. So we had a very good trade. The traders really did good on PLTR today. A lot of traders did PLTR puts as well. On the PNW did pretty good. You could also take PNW puts as well when we break the 512s here. But we did exit our longs. Always use the trend lines when you're trading it. Remember, this is only trade here. This is not a good. If you miss this, this is the best long right here versus 150. And remember, there's a pre-market planning. Yeah, there were many earning plays today in the community. We had CZR, which was a guidance by RGV, who guided the CZR long into the community. You can see that his target was 22. The plan on CZR was, let's take a look here, only interested if long if 20 holds, right? So what did it do? It pushed, bounced, flushed, held 20, MTF magnet 1, MTF magnet 2, and you can see the step-by-step guidance. 22 first target. He sold, RGV sold some into the first MTF, and he sold at the second MTF. Beautiful trade by RGV, step-by-step guidance. See what's happening here. We're holding 20, right? You got long in right there. It stops right there. First MTF magnet and the second MTF magnet. Beautiful trade. This is called MTF magnet setup on CZR there, and guidance by RGV. All right, so let's look at what else we were doing. We were doing a lot of day 2 setups. APP 1 hour MTF long. Let me show you the day 2 plan. APP 1 hour MTF long over 1 hour MTF. I highlighted as that MTF setup, right? So there were some other setups as well. Reddit, 1 hour MTF long setup. Shopify, I showed you Shopify yesterday was a loser, but look at it today. Number top 1 hour MTF setup. So 1 hour MTF setups are just insane, guys, especially when there's news. You can really do pretty good on those. You can see Reddit as well, 1 hour MTF setup, also on our game plan. So it was overall a beautiful day, on the day 2 setups. Let's see if there's something else here. We recap on day 2s. Okay, let's see here. We can take a look at a silver. Silver we trade every day. Silver was also 1 hour MTF long, right into that other clouds. Let's look at the software ETF. That was a 512 calls, and we don't just trade randomly, guys. Everything is on our game plan, pre-market game plan. All right, so that's enough for today, because this, hopefully you learned a lot. Hopefully you learned a lot about SPX, and hopefully you learned the trades on like PLTR, PNW, and the day two setups. Make sure you learn this, master this.